Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Rabinowitz along with Joey Kaufman. We're at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for the first day of Ohio State's training camp. Preseason camp started today, August 1st. There's a certain level of expectation and anticipation and pressure for this season, huh, Joey?
Yes, but it's Ohio State. I mean, every year you cover the team, they're top 5 preseason.
Right.
2 years ago, they were second in the preseason, and they may be second again this year. But you're right, there are expectations just because of so many returning seniors and their presence on the team. So many guys came back. So it's an interesting lead up to the season because of all the returning starters. There's so many position battles that aren't up for grabs because there's so much continuity. So it's not as if you were trying to sort out a bunch of stuff on both sides of the ball. There are actually very few, I think, really big spots up for grabs other than quarterback. We can get to that in a minute. But because of all those returning guys, I think there's so much obvious intrigue.
Yeah, quarterback and right guard on offense are really the only spots. On defense, there really aren't any. I mean, they really have 12 starters. We've talked about this before. Gasani Styles down linebacker. C.J. Hicks, Jordan Hancock are probably going to, mix and match depending on personnel. And again, first day of practice, I know people want, what'd you think? There's not a whole lot to really tell because they were not in pads. They used 2 different fields, so you couldn't really say, well, here are the starters and here are the backups. They mixed and matched. So, just some impressions. The quarterbacks I thought looked good. Will Howard looks different. In terms of body, he looks a little leaner, I thought, and maybe a little more sculpted. He was, I don't say he was pudgy when he got here in the winter, but I asked Ryan Day, did you ask him to change his body? And he said, yeah, we challenged him. And so he sounded like he lost some weight, that he put on some good weight. And so he looks a little different. I thought all of them threw the ball well. What did you think?
Yeah, I guess the way to maybe describe how they divided up the quarterback reps, and this is the way it's going to work for the first 4 practices, is they divided the team. They got 120 guys into 2 separate fields outside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. And so you have 2 11-on-11 team periods going on at one time. And you have the right side of the starting offensive line with 1 quarterback. You have the left side, the left starting offensive line with the other quarterback. The receivers are a little mix and match. So they call that split squad.
Right.
And that's what they're doing in these early practices to maximize reps. If you just had one group of 11-on-11 with your starting offense against the second team defense, you would get fewer reps. So it's a way for them to try to get a lot of reps, and especially manage reps at a position like quarterback where they have 5 guys they're really trying to bring along. Will Howard and Devin Brown are the guys who are really at the forefront of this competition, but you have next year guys you want to really have more experience in the program. Freshmen like Julian Sand. Lincoln Keenholz has only been here for a year now, so they need to bring those guys along as well. So that is how they're Aaron Nolan as well. That's how they're structuring that quarterback competition. But because of that, you don't really get to see all the guys working together all the time. Sometimes they're working with a second string guy. Sometimes they're with the starting group. So it's a little fuzzy in that way.
And we should point out that Joey did a quick little thing on observations of the offense. I did quick observations of the defense. It's at dispatch.com.
What was your biggest takeaway from the defense?
Well, it was really, I didn't have a big one, honestly, because, some backups made some nice plays. Joey Velasquez was a DeSales grad who transferred from Michigan, had a nice scoop and score, stripped the ball, made a nice play. Deontay Griffin, Archie's grandson, had an interception today. Davison Igbinosun dropped an interception today. But I thought the quarterbacks threw the ball well, so there weren't a lot of opportunities for big plays. And again, you're not in pads. And so to say that so-and-so looked good or looked bad, you just can't do it.
I always enjoy watching 7-on-7 because they can't run the ball. Typically you get to see some flashier throws. Carnell Tate probably had one of the highlight catches where he had to jump over a safety and really pulled in a tough one. Jelani Thurman laid out for a catch that was fit. He was sort of running a seam route. Will Howard fit a ball and he dropped down to the ground and caught it before Caleb Downs could come over top. On the other field around the same time or later on in 11-on-11s, Jeremiah Smith, another impressive sideline catch. Ryan Day's really made an effort to temper expectations around Jeremiah Smith, who very likely could end up starting from day one as a true freshman, which hasn't always happened among Ohio State's as good as they've been at that position in recent years. All the guys have come through this building: Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Emeka Ibuka. None of them have started as freshmen, so to see Jeremiah develop over the next few weeks will be interesting. Probably the newsiest thing on the offensive side of the ball: Carson Hinsman, who is expected to compete for the center spot and right guard as well, was not available today. He was not at practice. Friday said it's an illness that kept him out. They decided to hold him out. He's expected to be back tomorrow, so that nothing long term that will prevent him from pushing at the right guard spot, which will be a pretty wide open competition, assuming Seth McLaughlin ends up being the starting center. The transfer from Alabama. They have Carson Hinsman, Tegra Shabola, and Luke Montgomery all battling for reps right there. At the moment, the guy who was with the starting right side looked to be Tegra Shabola. He was sandwiched between McLaughlin and Josh Fryer, so that's where they sort of lined up on the right side today. Luke Montgomery was with the other right guard spot on the other field.
Yeah, I was kind of focused more on defense. Caleb Downs, you can just see the way. I just watched him for a couple plays, and you can just see how he reads plays. I mean, he just looks so smooth and instinctive out there. Again, no pads, so he's not going 100%, and so you can't really tell. But you can just see that he looks like he's the quarterback of that back end of the defense. And I thought both Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, the running backs, looked very quick. I mean, we know that they're really good. They're expected to be the best running back duo in the country. But just seeing them, again, not in pads, but just seeing them move. I mean, I think Travion looked. He made a couple cuts that I thought, wow. I mean, we've seen that before, but sometimes you forget, and it was kind of striking because he is lightning quick.
Yeah, even though they're not in pads, you still get to see guys move and run and do a lot of football things, and so that's, I think, revealing. It was interesting to watch even just the rest of the quarterbacks. Julian Sane, who's a true freshman, transferred from Alabama really after just a couple weeks in Tuscaloosa. He looked good and tough for a freshman to really, I think, push for a starting job, but you can kind of get a sense of what he brings from a physical, tangible aspect to the program. And he's got a quick release, and that really stands out when you watch him throw the ball. It just looks smooth. He looks, among the guys they have, just one of the more mechanically gifted quarterbacks on the roster.
Yeah, thinking about defense a little bit, I guess we should note, for what it's worth, that Sonny Styles was with Cody Simon most of the time. C.J. Hicks was kind of with the other field. Again, I'm not drawing any conclusions from that, just first day stuff. But if you're looking to see something,
parse the tea leaves. It is parse the tea leaves season.
Look, I think they're going to get Sonny Styles. I mean, Sonny Styles is a starter. I mean, I said they're going to rotate to some degree. They're going to have Sonny Styles on the field as much as possible. It'll be, I mean, he's that gifted. You don't want him off the field.
That is an interesting position battle, Sonny Styles and C.J. Hicks, because Sonny is learning a new position, but he played all of last year as a starting safety. He's been on the field a lot. C.J. Hicks has not, even though he has experience at linebacker. And so much of what Sonny did in last year at Ohio State, even when he cameoed as a freshman back in 2022, is in the box, close to the line of scrimmage. So it's not
he's bigger,
too unfamiliar for him to play that up close to the line. Obviously, stuff's going to move faster. There's more traffic when you get up into the box and all that. But he's still somebody, I think, who has the experience of being on the field. The other thing, too, which will be interesting, we won't really know until they get into the heart of the Big Ten meat grinder. But maybe they'll run more some 4-3 stuff. They got 3 linebackers with
right.
They've done that before.
They've got to go to a 4-2.
So even if one guy ends up being first in the pecking order, maybe we don't know how much they'll rotate. We don't know how they could vary their base defense,
right,
and all that.
Right.
When they play somebody like Iowa, that would be an opportunity maybe to run more 4-3. Than their 4-2-5 base.
It makes sense, but they always say we want our best 11 on the field. It's very hard for me to believe that Sonny Styles is not one of their best 11 almost all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think C.J. Hicks is gifted. He was a 5-star recruit. He clearly is talented. But I think he's got to earn his way. And I think that I think it's going to be very much an 11 based on situations. If it's a passing down, they do this. If it's a running down, they do this. If it's red zone, they do this.
Which is how they started doing stuff last year with Jordan Hancock,
Right.
where Sonny Styles started the year as the starting nickel corner, but on third downs they would often bring in Jordan Hancock because he's more of a true cornerback, and so in passing situations they would want his ability to drop in coverage, and Sonny tended to be more of a first, second down guy. So you're right. I mean, that's something they've done in the past years, and they certainly have no shortage of guys they can kind of tinker with on that side of the ball.
I think that probably wraps it up pretty well for the first day. Again, don't want to draw many conclusions, if any conclusions, from the first day, but
We will draw some conclusions.
it's our job to draw premature conclusions. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and obviously we'll be back very soon with more updates. So again, thanks for watching.